From Gen X to Gen Z and millennials to baby boomers, there are so many labels for our generations, but what defines them? A new book says technology has more to do with shaping an age group rather than prominent events.
Psychology professor Dr. Jean Twenge is the author of Generations, the real difference between Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, boomers, and silence, and what they mean for America's future. She joins us now live. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
I didn't even know, you always hear about boomers. I didn't know the generation before them had the name.
Yeah, so the silence, it's really a misnomer. They were the leaders of the civil rights movement, of the feminist movement. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Martin Luther King Jr. were both members of that generation, born 1925 to 1945.
Why do you say the technology is what shapes these categories?
Yeah, so there's a traditional theory of generations that generations are shaped by experiencing certain major events at different life stages. But when you think about what really has an impact on day-to-day life in the long term, it's changes in technology. Technology, not just the internet, but things like better medical care, air conditioning, washing machines. Those are the things that really make living right now completely different from what it was like to live certainly 150 years ago, but even 50 years ago or 20 years ago.
Sometimes we think, Larry and I are both in the Gen X, and sometimes you think millennials, Gen Z, anyone after us is all in this big same group. But you say there are distinct differences between millennials and Gen Z, which is after what, 2006?
Yeah, so millennials are those born roughly 1980 to 1994, and Gen Z, or iGen, I sometimes call them, born 1995 to 2012. And those are two very different generations. So millennials grew up very optimistic, very self-confident, and Gen Z, not as much. So Gen Z was the first generation to spend their entire adolescence in the age of the smartphone. And that's had ripple effects across many areas of their lives. So they've spent a lot more time online, and they've spent a lot less time with their friends in person. So especially as teenagers, that's what teens used to do. And Gen Z just doesn't do that as much anymore. And that might be one of the reasons why they're much more likely to be depressed.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the relationship between technology and what they're experiencing. So talk about Gen Xers. You say they grew up quickly, but they grew slow as adults. Why did that happen, and what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so one of the downstream effects of technology is what psychologists call a slow life strategy. So it happens when education takes longer to finish and when people live longer lives. The whole developmental trajectory will slow down. So kids will be less independent. Teens, and this is true of Gen Z, less likely to get their driver's license, less likely to have a paid job. Young adults take longer to get married and have kids and have a career. Middle-aged people feel and look younger than their parents and grandparents. So it's like the 60s new 50 idea. So Gen X is an unusual generation in that they had a little less protection as children and teenagers. So they were right there on their 16th birthday getting that driver's license. They had that job. They went out with their friends a lot. But then when they got to young adulthood, that slow life strategy piece kicked in. So they were at the beginning of that trend to get married later and have children later.
I do find this interesting, this Gen Z. Kids today, they don't want to rush to get their driver's license. I don't understand. Isn't that something that you want, that freedom no matter what generation you're in? What do you think accounts for that?
Yeah, so one interview that I did, a young man told me, well, he was 18 or 19. He said, well, I didn't get my driver's license right away because my parents didn't push me to get my driver's license. So I'm a Gen Xer, and I hear that, and I think, what? It's supposed to be the other way around.
Right.
You're supposed to push your parents. You're supposed to want that freedom. Yeah. And for Gen Z, they're just not as interested in that. And that's for two reasons. One is that slow life strategy. They take longer. It's not a bad thing or a good thing overall. They're also less likely to have sex or drink alcohol as high school students. Most parents are thrilled about that part, but they just are less interested in having that freedom right away. The other reason, of course, is technology. That because they spend so much time on social media and communicating with their friends online, they don't feel as much of that impetus to get that driver's license and spend time with their friends in person.
Huh.
So, and it's unfortunate because that also is probably the reason why we have a mental health crisis.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the characterization of baby boomers is they became binge drinkers. Why is that?
Yeah. So, baby boomers, from their very name, they are a very large generation. They've dominated the culture at every point. And one of the biggest shifts that you see between silence right before the boomers and boomers in the 60s and 70s was a lot more alcohol and drug use. And so baby boomers have carried that into their middle age and old age, where there's just a lot more alcohol use, even binge drinking among older people now than there was 10 or 20 years ago when older people were silenced.
Interesting. Well, it's fascinating. The book is called Generations, and you can find Jean on her site and also on Twitter. We'll put all those handles up shortly. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.